Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the unexplained, the mysterious, and sometimes the downright chilling. Today's story? Well, it comes from the majestic fjords of Norway, a country known for its Viking legends, aurora-lit skies, and breathtaking landscapes. But this tale? It's not about trolls or Norse gods. It's about a modern-day reincarnation case, involving a child, a small fishing village, and memories that shouldn't exist. Sounds like a Netflix pitch, right? But it actually happened, and it's leaving researchers, skeptics, and believers alike scratching their heads. Stick around, because this story might just change what you believe about life, death, and what comes after. Introducing the case. Let's head to Rost, a tiny island off the coast of northern Norway, population just under 600. Life here is simple: fishing, family, and tradition. But in the late 1990s, something strange started happening. A young boy, let's call him Emil, began saying things that chilled his family to the bone. At just 4 years old, Emil began talking about boats he'd never seen, storms he'd never experienced, and, here's the kicker, a death at sea that happened before he was born. He'd draw detailed sketches of an old fishing vessel, including the name of the ship, the Elise. His parents thought he had an overactive imagination. Until they Googled it, well, in those days, probably asked around or checked the town records. And there it was. The Elise was a real ship. It sank in 1974. What's more, the captain of that ship, who died during the incident, was Emil's great-uncle, a man he'd never met. The family didn't talk about it. It was a tragedy, and like many small-town griefs, it was kept quiet. Section 2, Deeper Connections. Here's where it gets weirder. Emil started referring to people using nicknames only his great-uncle would have known. He'd call his grandmother, Lida, a private pet name her brother had for her. She broke down in tears the first time Emil used it. And then came the knowledge of the sea. Emil, age 5, knew how to tie complex sailor knots, the kind you only learn after years of working on boats. His father, not a fisherman, had no idea how he'd learned them. He also knew where the compass on the boat had been located, what kind of fish nets were used, and described the storm that took the ship down in eerily accurate detail. At this point, local journalists caught wind of the story, and the case began making quiet waves across Norway. Reincarnation in Scandinavian culture. Now, pause for a moment. Let's talk reincarnation in Norway. You might think, isn't this more of a Buddhist or Hindu belief? And you'd be right, but not entirely. Because Scandinavian folklore has always had traces of reincarnation and ancestral return. There's the old Viking belief in rebirth within the family line, a concept where traits or souls are believed to return in descendants. There's even a word in Old Norse, endurfing, which loosely means to be born again. And naming a child after a dead relative was seen as a spiritual calling. Could it be that Emil was more than just named after his uncle? Was he a spiritual continuation? And if that's the case, is this happening more than we think? Section 4, Comparisons to other cases. Let's zoom out a bit. This isn't an isolated story. Around the world, there are documented reincarnation cases, especially involving young children. The late Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist from the University of Virginia, spent decades studying over 2,500 such cases. Kids describing past lives, places they've never been, families they've never met, and getting it all right. One famous case. James Leininger, an American boy who remembered being a World War II pilot, even knew the name of his aircraft carrier, Natoma Bay, which his parents later confirmed was real. So Emil's case fits a chilling pattern. Young age. Sudden memories. Specific knowledge. Emotional connection. Coincidence? Or something more? Section 5. Theories and explanations. So what could explain Emil's case? Let's run through some possibilities. 1. Cryptomnesia. Maybe Emil overheard stories about the shipwreck and repeated them unknowingly. But the family swears it was never discussed, not even at family events. 2. Genetic memory. A hot theory in the science world. It's the idea that memories or experiences can be inherited, like trauma being passed down through genes. Could this explain Emil's sailor instincts? 3. Psychic connection. What if Emil had some kind of mediumistic link to his great-uncle, not a reincarnation, but a channeling? Or 4. Literal reincarnation. The soul leaves one body at death, and re-enters another at birth. A spiritual recycling of consciousness. Which theory resonates most with you? Thinking face. Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'm seriously curious what you all think. Section 6. Public reaction and media. After the story surfaced, Emil and his family were approached by a national broadcaster in Norway, but they declined public interviews. Some believe it was to protect Emil's privacy. Others think the attention scared them off. But snippets made it to a documentary-style podcast, which caused a small viral wave in Europe in 2008. Interestingly, the podcast linked Emil's story to an uptick in past-life regression therapy in Norway, with more people seeking answers about their strange dreams, déjà vu, and unexplained talents. Kinda makes you wonder, have you ever felt strangely connected to a place or time period you've never lived in? Section 7. Speculation and Hypotheticals, 25:30, 28:30. Let's imagine for a second. What if reincarnation is real, but only happens under certain conditions? What if traumatic deaths anchor souls to specific places, and those souls seek out familiar families to finish what they started? Could that explain Emil's obsession with the sea? With finishing his uncle's journey? And if you could choose, would you want to be reincarnated? Would you want to return with your memories, or start clean? Also, what if technology could someday detect the transfer of consciousness? I mean, if we can track brain waves, store memories in the cloud, could we one day prove reincarnation in a lab? Wild stuff. But not impossible. Alright, now I'm curious. What do you think? Was Emil truly his uncle, reborn? Was it all coincidence? Or is there a deeper connection between generations than science can currently explain? Let me know in the comments, I read every single one. Backhand index pointing down. And if you've had a past life experience or know someone who has, I'd love to hear about it. Hit that like button if you love these mystery deep dives, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-world X-Files every week. Detective Male Sign Milky Way. Until next time, keep questioning everything, and maybe, just maybe, you've been here before. Outro music plays.